you. Greetings to all of you here who are present at this wonderful session, which is therefore the 13th or the 14th of this year. And this series over the last year has invited leaders who push the frontier of such thinking in either terms of products or in terms of thoughts and ideas that can be taken as community-led actions. We have had some wonderful speakers in the past. You can visit the Prem Jain Memorial Trust.com to understand who these speakers were, what they spoke upon, and how they have perhaps galvanized some thinking and action in other micro regions of from Coimbatore, who spoke on what she had done over some 15 or 18 years on lakes. And somebody else from Surat 4 months later writes to me and says, I heard this person at that point in time. I galvanized some people here. We have taken up a lake for restoration from Surat to Coimbatore. So it's been amazing. This is the intent and the idea, objective, the vision of the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. And this distinguished lecture series is a monthly series. This time we have Dr. Manjusri. She is, she's the Canada chair. She's the research chair for something called Sustainable Biocomposites. And she will explain what that means. And she comes from two things, from the School of Engineering as well as the Department of Plant Agriculture, let us say. Now, what is more important for you to see, to know is that I must also acknowledge with felt gratitude the presence of something called Circle. Now, Circle stands for, she will tell you, essentially the Canada-India Research Center for Learning and Engagement, CIRCLE. And she's part of that. Sometimes she gets invited by Circle to see that, symposiums and conferences of this kind and key speaking sessions of this kind happen. There is another in Canada called the Canada-India Center of Excellence, which is housed in Ottawa at the Carleton University. And we work with those people also sometimes to see that these things are happening. Suresh Vasudevan, our leader and the immediate past chairperson of the Indian Building Council, is also here. Yatin, please, I request you to give him, audio and video rights as you go along. Manjusri, before you get to whatever, as I told you earlier, I want to introduce to you a very interesting person called Dept Pava. He founded a company called Bryair, B-R-Y-A-I-R, and he will speak about that. He is also a governing council member at the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. He's a very, you know what ISRAE is, for air conditioning and such. And a person who knew Dr. Jain for a very, very long time. After he speaks, and why I wanted him to speak, I requested him about an hour ago to speak because he is working, interestingly, in areas of biodegradable plastics and composites, right? In a certain sense, and he will explain that better than I can do. Then we will have Mr. Sandeep Narang, wonderful man from Delhi. He's Delhi, Gurgaon, whatever based. And he's been working with lot in these partner institutions to work with and cross-fertilize ideas for the Prem Jain Memorial Trust. I'll stop here for now. I'm going to request Mr. Dept Pava to take over and set the context in the Indian business scenario of sustainable composites or composites that can work at the biodegradable levels of plastics. Over to you, Mr. Pava.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me at today to speak. All of us have come here to listen to Dr. Manjusri. However, I'll give you a quick overview. I don't know how much of the audience is familiar with plastics business, but I'm sure everyone wants to preserve the environment, and that's what we are all here about. I, as an individual, and our company has been involved in plastic processing in India. And through some of our partners, we work globally for two reasons. A company in Switzerland, which makes a very advanced sensor, which goes into the plastic industry. Also, we work very closely with an American company, and they are very closely involved in all plastic processing in the United States. And when I say all plastic processing means almost everything needs to be dried, and all equipment that goes into processing for drying, etc., they buy the heart of that from India. Begin to see the trends of what is happening. And I want to focus on the trends. The trend is towards moving various plastic usages towards varieties of PET. PET is going to be one of the resins of the future. But what is more important is the trend towards biodegradable plastics, particularly biodegradable PET, which I think is an important trend. We thought that plastics, we went to the plastic exhibition to Europe 2-3 years ago, but we were seeing there was a huge resurgence coming in the plastic processing because there is a big shift towards biodegradable plastics. I want to cite an example, which is an important one because all of us are familiar with Lego. All our children, we all know, and all families throughout the world. A company like Lego is making a very big step by putting in new factories over the next 3 years, where they will be mainly processing plastics, and Lego items will be made from biodegradable plastic. So that's the type of positioning these companies are taking. I know this personally because we are going to be involved in all the 3 factories for providing our advanced technology from our Swiss company. But that is only the way we get to know what are the trends. And throughout the world is going to happen in India. It's only a matter of time. But everyone is conscious of moving towards biodegradable plastics. So towards the net zero plastic footprint, I might say, it is there. And we are all here to listen to Dr. Manjusri to tell us more, not only about this trend, how fast we can move in this direction, what are our other options. So I'll sign off here and look forward to listening to Dr. Manjusri.
And Chris, if you heard him right, he is talking of how India is a technology leader. The collaboration that he talked of with the Swiss that he has and such. So it's I can see that over the next year. I mean, you are from here in any case, in many multiple ways, and India is now turning that one tide where a lot of this technology leadership is coming from here. Is a message I think I'm getting from Mr. Pava. Can I request Sandeep Naran to quickly take over whatever the context is that you wanted to set? Go on, please.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you, Dr. Hariharan. And welcome, Dr. Manjusri, for this distinguished lecture series, talk of PJMT. And it's a very beautiful coincidence that we launched Net Zero Plastic Toolkit in the month of January during Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav 4 weeks ago. And we are having this discussion right after that on eradication of the plastic. So we followers of the path shown by Dr. Prem Jain, and in the various discussions I would have with Dr. Jain, it was how we create this footprint into the institutes or use the students as green crusader idea. And PJMT, under the distinguished leadership of all the board of governors here, we have decided to create this roadmap for all the institutions over here today, from the faculties who will be taking a pledge for going one-time plastic free, creating that environment in the campuses, guiding the students and the societies around them to take this initiative further into the society or back homes. That was the idea, and I was highly impressed by Dr. Jyotirmay Mathur's talk in the month of December at the end of PLS. That was the last distinguished lecture series talks, where he talked about creating or assessing footprints. So this is the smallest step we can do of eradication of the plastics from our life, which is very easy. That's how we start this. And I thank you, Dr. Manjusri, for being part of this series of PJMT. And I hand it over to Dr. Hariharan, and I'll request him to talk to faculties over here, and once that's in the agenda, who will be ready to participate and take the pledge. Thank you.
Wonderful. Professor Gunjan, a very good idea. Invite them to speak. Gunjan, can you speak? The intent being that somebody like Dr. Manjusri, if she's going to speak to us, she needs to know the quality of thinking and concerns that are currently being articulated by faculty mentors and senior people like you, senior professionals, teaching professionals like you, Professor Gunjan. Go on, Gunjan.
Sure, sir. Very first, let me welcome all in this discussion and deliberation, and say not only the discussion, deliberation, of course, my own faculty colleague who was this get associated for this mission, bigger mission that Prem Jain Memorial has set for all of us, is going to share his viewpoint. But let me first set the why we are here today. You know, Prem Jain Memorial Trust, I really appreciate the effort that they have bring a one ecosystem. If you not have an ecosystem, you cannot contribute. And Prem Jain Memorial Trust has bring this ecosystem of young student, the faculty members, industry person, a resource person of knowledgeable across the globe's mission that how we can make a plastic-free campus. And one thing I want to point out, which belongs to our own institute, Institute of Management, that when we have received, we have let first start from this youth, and you know the youth really contribute. It's not like that they are not ready to take the responsibility. So awareness is sometimes also bring too much magic about the lifestyle. We have created one booklet and we have circulated among 1,000 students. So let's take a for how we can contribute. And you know, it was really, really very successful. And then we have keep something that how we contribute in this process. So intent is that the student who is coming in the very beginning, who is lifestyle to be start taking individual responsibility. I think that can be taken care, and we have started. I think this spark given by the Prem Jain Memorial, I think is the good initiative, and we want to appreciate. Regarding our technical expert Rahul Bedi is going to talk about the way that Prem Jain Memorial Trust has given this wonderful toolkits that is in the way out for all of us.
Rahul, some 2-3 points from you to impact the key speaker on the current scenario in India. Go on. Yes, Rahul.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. So, as on the line of this, say, or entrusted the young mind with the for this developing plastic from the campuses. From the beginning in our IM, we had in the single-use plastic in both in can and in different areas, to encourage them to fill the water bottles rather than use. So we have number of billions. So in this way, we were encouraging them so that they stop using a single-use plastic. And throughout different sessions, seminars, we were always at the forefront of encouraging them to what is the damage plastics are causing to them. And with this project of single-free plastic, interested more on this fully make it a zero-free campus. Till now, some plastics are there. We are trying to solve that problem, and so that the campus can be 100% free from any single-use plastic. So this is our thought, and this ventures is actually helping us in the long run too, because the students, although they are aware, I will say they are aware, but still after this awareness, they are still reluctant to debunk the plastic because of it. All of us, we know that because of the usability and the ease of using it. This is a bit shy, I think, with this awareness.
Absolutely. Professor Vanshika, would you want to speak for 1 or 2 minutes to share some quick perspectives?
Here, sir, one point
Yes,
I want
sir.
to add here as
Yes.
a Gunjan. One point I want to add. You think that also we have added is, in the final year, we have added one paper. You will appreciate this effort, waste to energy. But getting motivation from all, we have added one elective paper so that a student has a more effort, dedicated effort, and more structured approach to carry forward not only this mission, but get educated technically in this process. So over to you, sir. Thanks.
Lovely. Wonderful. Professor Manjusri.
Yes, sir. So actually, I just appreciate initiation. It's include plastic free, the plastic free campus we are doing now. So we actually initiated in our campus to do the cutlery free canteen.
Right.
And apart from that, we have also included some of the events which incorporate with the plastic free things. Yesterday we had organized an event. We had given video of the stick free things, and so many of the students has incorporated with that and have done many of the tremendous work.
Very nice.
So yeah, we gladly appreciate the kind of the things we are doing. And
Let me tell you on behalf of the Trained Trust, whenever you do some good work like this on ground, please write to Yatin and others at the trust now. We will ensure that from IGBC, from the Prem Jain Memorial Trust, that letters of appreciation, certificates of appreciation are offered to your college, right?
Yes, sir.
Please keep about it. Khushbu Singh, would you want to speak very quickly? Because we need to hear youngsters before we get Manjusri, Dr. Manjusri to speak. Khushbu? Okay. Shilpa, would you want to speak? And the last will be Dr. Ashish. One of you, whoever. Khushbu, if you want to speak, you can unmute. Yes. Yes, please. Go on. I wanted to get
sir.
your
So I
flavor.
Yes, sir. So I just want to add that in our campus of IMCA, we are making eco bricks.
Oh. Nice.
Idea, and we all students are getting into the practice of making it. We are collecting different plastics from everywhere. We are collecting it from garbages, or like collecting canteen, and we are just putting into the bottles, and we are making eco bricks. And after that, we'll be trying to make, we can use it further in many ways, like we can make benches, we can make walls, and many more practices. So this is our practice of making eco brick in our university.
Lovely. Ashish, would you want to speak? No. Well, I think you all spoken. I just wanted to have an idea, of what India is doing in its own ways. Good morning once again to you, Dr. Manjusri Misra. Thank you for consenting. You know, this started, I wrote to you, I think, in the early part of January, since we had this theme of zero plastics, and, for the previous month's Mahotsav. But then, like you said, and then I also sort of agreed, we said we wanted to get beyond all the noise and see that we get a separate dedicated session with you. Well, I don't want to say anything much more about you or about Circle or about Canada's interest in nurturing such technologies into the future. The floor is yours. It's 6:19 here in India. And you can start and take maybe 25, 30 minutes or whatever, and hope for interactions. We also have, as I told you, a very distinguished person here in Mr. Suresh Vasudevan. He's the former chairman, many multiple things that he has held. He's a 1967 engineer, civil engineer, who spent many years pushing the frontiers of many things, including Chapter 11 and 12 of the National Building Code. Over to you, Dr. Manjusri. Unmute, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hariharan, and good evening to everyone, as well as greetings for all the attendees joining this today. Yes, I am already introduced, so I am going to share the slide now again.
Yeah, please go on.
Yes.
Let me acknowledge the presence of Mr. Jaganatha Venkatamaya. Namaste. I know you can't speak, but I'm just acknowledging your presence. Niranjan is there, our inveterate champion from Bangalore, who is doing so much as I just want to say both of you, there are many others here. Over to you. We are not yet. Not yet.
So now it is
No.
shared or not
I'll tell you
shared?
when it comes on. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please.
So
Yes, please.
now it is shared.
No. You have
No?
to, maybe you should unshare. You have to see that button at the bottom, green button, green share screen. And
Oh, okay. So I have to share it again.
yeah, you have to unshare and share probably.
Okay.
Unshare meaning as stop share. There you are. I think it's come.
Is it sharing now?
Yes, please. And please put on the view mode as you did before the meeting.
You can put it on the full screen. You can put it on full screen.
At the bottom, you saw that there you are. Perfect. You're good to go. You're good to go.
Okay.
I'll mute myself and next 30 minutes is yours.
Okay. So now we are ready. And again, thank you, Dr. Hariharan, for the introduction. And thank you as well as Mr. Narang and everyone, all the faculty who spoke this evening. So as you can see, we discussed a little bit about this net zero plastic and India's status, as well as what is happening currently from various attendees. So I will be going to a little bit speaking quickly about from where I am, from basically India. And here is like I studied in the Ravenshaw Collegiate School in Cuttack. That is the first high school in Odisha, as well as in Ravenshaw College. And Ravenshaw College is right now in Utkal University. But while I did study, it was under the Utkal University. And there only I met with my better half and spouse and colleague, Professor Amar Mohanty, together for a long time. So now I am coming to our lab, which is Bioproduct Discovery and Development Center at the University of Guelph. It was established in 2008 when my spouse and I, we moved from Michigan State University to start this revolutionary activity in Canada. And here is Professor Mohanty, as I told you, and he is also attending this meeting. So what we do, the focus of our center is to develop sustainable material alternatives to the current fossil fuel based materials, as well as we make it with the green resources, but it has to be cost competitive. As you all know, even if anything is green, without the proper cost, it cannot be commercialized. So we use a varieties of wastes and low value feeds, convert them to high value products. And most of our work concentrate in the like automotive and transportation sector, packaging, as well as consumer goods and other manufacturing products. As LIGO is also a part of our activity going on in collaboration with them. So this is our group here. As you know, like students from various parts of the world, they come and do their study or the postdoctoral fellowship, and then they move on to as a green workforce to various parts of the world. And here is like my spouse again. So what are I am going to speak today. What are the motivation behind this research on plastic waste and how we can be able to make waste-free world. I will be speaking a little bit about the plastic through upcycling in terms of the composites. Then what are the issues and problems in the packaging that is creating huge amount of plastic? And then we will move on to the bioplastic and what are the different categories of bioplastics, biodegradable, compostable, bio-based. and what are the various opportunities of bioplastic, including the sustainable packaging, as well as with some key messages. So as we all know that the first synthetic plastic was invented in the year 1907, Leo Henrik Bekeland, who first synthesized phenol formaldehyde resin. It's almost 115 years ago. And we all knew that not now, but if like with our parents, our grandparents, we are having this kind of like big, huge phones, and they were actually made with bakelite, the first resin, when it started from the petroleum-based feedstock. That plastic is inevitable in our lives. And as you can see this view graph, that how the plastic has like grown from 1950, when it started to become like large amount of commercialized after the Second World War. And then the crisis started, the huge amount of demand happened. And you can see in this graph, the pink part here, the deep pink part is only the for packaging, and which is more than the 50% of the total products. So in 2015, the amount of plastic produced was 300 million tons. So as you can know, there was like a lot of awareness before the World War about use of natural materials, including rubber, gutta percha, and other materials in our lives. But after the World War, there was a lot of shortage of the natural materials, and then the synthetic alternative become cheap. With this rate, the world will produce around 1 trillion tons of plastics by 2050. And here are the various uses. As I told, that plastic packaging is the largest market. So when we come about the plastic, what is the summary? Then so far, between 1950 till 2015, the amount of plastic produced is 8.3 billion metric ton. Out of that, 6.3 billion metric ton plastic already is like generated. From that, only 9% is recycled and 12% is incinerated for energy. Rest around 79 to 80% is landfilled. Because we think many plastics are recyclables, but they are really not. So as you can see this view graph, the top one is polyethylene terephthalate. We use it for the bottles, and which we are now replacing. So that is the maximum recycled 20%. And then the next one, which is recycled, is HDPE, which is 10%, and polyethylene is recycled around 5.3%. Other than that, there is very low recycling of the rest of the plastics that we are using now. So what is going to happen? The resources, like the need for resources increasing. In 1990, 12 million tons per year. The projected resource requirement in 2050 will be 140 billion tons per year. So there is an explosion of population and urbanization, and the resource need becoming 2.5 times by 2050. And right now, the amount of plastic waste generated is equivalent to weight of the entire human population in the globe. And many of us, the lot of plastic pollution leaks to ocean, approximately around 8 million metric ton per year. Every minute, 1 truck of plastic goes into the sea. So if it happens like this, in 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Also, 10,000 plastic bags and 1 garbage truck of textile waste Again, 1/3 of the food wasted per year globally. That cost around 750 billion US dollar, and which adds 8% of the global greenhouse gas to the atmosphere. So here I will be speaking a little bit summary. Many of you knew the statistics, but still I say, what is the plastic use status in India? This is like a per capita use, and the market of the single-use plastic in India is about 800 billion rupees. In 2019, there were about 30,000 plastic processing units and 7,000 recycling units were in India, and which employed more than 4 million workers. The plastic produced in 2019 $3.7 trillion because of the pollution, emission, and the related cleanup. So, according to the data shared by the minister, in the last 5 years, the quantity of plastic waste in the country has more than doubled. And it has produced around 15.9 lakh tons of plastic waste in 2015, but which is, so these are the issues, and this view graph is showing the different states and what is the amount of the each state produces. The average plastic waste generated in India is 4,059 tons per day. And according to the report, in 2016, the Indian packaging industry was valued as $32 billion. You can see a lot of plastic waste and everybody has seen it. So the plastic crisis in India is one of the worst of the planet. That is according to the Central Pollution Control Board. And with this, the India is producing around 5.6% of the total solid waste is plastic. It produces around $35 billion of industry of plastic and employs 100,000 people in 2,000 businesses. It's actually way lot smaller in comparison to India, as India is employing 4 lakhs people. So every year, Canada throws 3 million metric tons of plastic as waste, and normally it is half like packaging, and the 90% of the Canada's plastic waste is never recycled. Within last 25 years, around 50,000 like people or volunteers, they picked plastics from different water resources and the ocean cleaning. They found all these, they collected these like bottle caps, paper, all these things are collected from the ocean and other water resources. With pandemic, the plastic use sparked because the global demand for like the face mask, gloves, respirator, and gown increased, but all of them, they go to landfill. It was estimated that production and incineration will pump around 850 million tons of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere globally, which is going to become 2.8 billion tons in 2050. So what happened next? When plastic goes to environment, into soil, it again goes to water. So as you can see, it generates microplastics. Here you can see that this kind of world. So the plastic gets fragments to the microplastic, which is less than 5 millimeter in length. And the sources are from microbeads, plastic waste dumped into the environment, as well as plastic used in packaging. So you can see in this view graph from one of the recent publication of ours that from various sources, plastic is leaking to environment, going to water, soil, or atmosphere, plastic and nanoplastic, then going to plant, animal, and microorganisms. So this is the biggest concern, how we eat fish, but we also eat plastic with fish. So around like 15 to 51 trillion microplastics are floating in the surface. And through fruits and vegetables, we are eating 80 grams per person per day. So here is a view graph.
Do we lost her? Yeah, Dr. Manjusri.
So
Don't bother. Continue, please.
now there is how to tackle the waste. So we must change how we design, use, and move towards zero waste and circular economy. So the circular economy it was first with the Alan MacArthur Foundation. This is to aim of accelerating the transition to the circular economy in the world. All the materials in every stage of their journey, starting from design to production to use to the last phase of the life cycle. So it based on 3 principles: design, out and materials in use, and a regenerated natural system. The circular economy is a closed loop system instead of the linear system of make, use, and throw. And this closed loop system can use waste as the feedstock, through which there is a reduction in the greenhouse gas emission, as well as there is a new job creation happening. So the 5 use recycle, recovery, and residual management is a useful tool for moving towards net zero. Now, if we come to Canada, the environmental minister first time announced 1.5 years ago almost in 2020 October that the government was going to consider to ban these 6 products: grocery bags, straws, tire sticks, out containers. And just 2 months ago, they announced that by 2030, at least 50% of all packagings will be containing recycled material. And 90% of the plastic, the recycling target in the for the beverage containers. Also, everybody is like aware now to remove the myth. If there is no recycling facility, you cannot put the label as recyclables. So the government is working with provinces, territories, and ensures that producers are responsible for the cost of managing their plastic waste, not the consumers or the taxpayers. And in India, the government announced the manufacture, sale, and use of identified single-use plastics. Like there is a full list of material that are banned, and you will know it. So most importantly, currently polyethylene bags less than 50 micron thicks are banned. And the increased thickness of all bags from 50 micron to 120 micron from December 31st, 2022. And non-woven plastic carry bags should not be less than 60 grams per was effective from September 2021. Also, India prohibited manufacture, import, and stock and distribution of single-use plastics. So you see this global aspect that Alan MacArthur Foundation's effort to enforce the circular economy in the whole world. The India became a part of that. And in 2016, they calculated that would bring India annual benefit of 40 lakhs crores in 2050. Additionally, it will reduce the other negative impact. So the greenhouse emission, for example, would be 44% lower in 2050 compared to the current development path if India follows the circular economy principle. So what are the global actions? I told 50% of the plastics are packaging, they are going to waste. So the Alan MacArthur Foundation, along with United Nations, they kind of create the new plastic economy, and which tells eliminate the problematic plastic that are single-use to reusable model, innovate to ensure 100% plastic packaging recycled, reused, or composite the plastic product, either reused or recycled and made into new products. But there are like big challenges. Imagine in the packaging, there are three kinds of materials that can never be recycled, like mixed material or multi-material packaging, like juice pouches and other packagings. There are some multi-layer films, you cannot separate them, as well as there are mono-material system or very small items. They are star or straws, and they should be really redesigned. So now in our work, I am coming to converting the circular economy to circular bioeconomy, which is a reduced carbon economy. As you can see the left-hand side view graph, the various bioproducts can be obtained from renewable resources or waste feedstock. They can give to biochemicals, bioenergy, or various bio. So the sustainable materials can be biosourced, recycled, or waste. And the sustainable manufacturing is the creation of manufactured products that use processes that minimize the negative impacts, conserve energy and natural resources, and are safe for employees, communities, and consumers, and economically sound. So this is not new. This by many of the pioneers long back. This is a photograph, as you can see, from the Ford, Michigan plant. When Henry Ford was thinking that everything can be obtained from the renewable resources, including fluid, plastic, automobile parts, as well as aircraft parts, everything. So in the right-hand side top, you can see the image from 1933 that biofuel was sold in Nebraska Lincoln gas tests 10% corn alcohol. And the bottom you can see that Henry Ford is testing a bioplastic car part in the year 1941, that whether it is tough enough. He has a hammer in his hand. So these were like really, really old thoughts and old ideas, but coming back now with our sustainability goal or environmental concern. So I am going to give 2 examples here. One is upcycling of plastics by making composites for high value applications in automotives, consumer goods and packaging. Here you see there are different natural fibers, starting from flax, hemp, kenaf to jute from India, henequen from Mexico, coir from all over the world. You can name any biomass or biofiber or that are various waste. You can see here, after we take out the seeds or take out the juice, here is bagasse, soya stalk, wheat straw, rice straw, Swiss grass, miscanthus, which is also India has a lot of jatropha. So all these, imagine, they are there. We are not using it in proper value, but now they can go to composites. And additionally, here are some undervalued products like chicken feather, lignin, tea dust, as well as tomato skin and grape pomace. You can name thousands and millions. They are available in the nature. We don't use it, we throw it in the garbage. In the proper application, the higher value product. So in this case, I am giving examples of a couple of products that we have produced as biocomposite, giving new life to recycled plastic as well as waste. Here is some like the storage bio bins that are available in Canadian tires, in home hardwares, as well as some pots and varieties of other products that are in the market. You think about just using by the waste. There are also the waste plastics are used in construction. The left-hand side is the nice road constructed in India with support from UNDP. Here, as you can see, this is all waste plastic based asphalt on the road. This is near Pune. And you can see the right-hand side, there are some lot of durable products like chairs, picnic tables, benches, like Canada. And here is the past parking lot in Canada that is made with plastic bags, shopping bags. And this has like several million plastic bags has been used, almost 6 million to make this 100% green parking lot from the Jobis. Now I am quickly coming to another aspect where we have, in the past you saw the biofiber can be used in plastic to make biocomposites, but not be used with materials like nylon or polyethylene terephthalate. They needed high temperature. And also the biofibers are having like odor, their supply chain has an issue. So we at the University of Guelph started first pyrolyzing the biomass, various waste, to heat it in presence of limited supply of oxygen. And after the pyrolysis, we get the biochar. But for the last started using it as a replacement to carbonaceous fillers, carbon black, carbon fiber, all these materials. So we take varieties of waste materials and can torrefy it low temperature around 300 or 350 degrees centigrade, or we can pyrolyze it at higher temperature, say 600 to 900 degrees centigrade. Then we get high, and that is a reason why I am saying about this one, because as you know about this and you are aware about this, then in India, starting from November, throughout the winter days, you can see the whole North India is dark. covered with smoke. And that is due to the stubble burning, which is happening for the last several decades after 1980s. So you can see here the NASA the last 3 months ago. The stubble burning is happening from the NASA, the image that is visible infrared imaging radiometer suit. So around 80 to 90% of the rice straw, corn, the cotton crops, all are burning in whole North India, mostly. And you know, these all can be really utilized through carbon black to making to biocarbon and making, you can use it as product. Using the burning, and Punjab is in the highest alert. So what happened once you convert any biomass, it can be rice straw, wheat straw, or any waste, to pyrolyze it 600 to 900 degrees centigrade, collect the carbonization biomass and reduce the particle size, then through the compounding machine to the reactive extrusion, as Mr. Pava talked about the plastic composite pellet, then injection mold and make the final product. This left-hand side is the lighthouse housing for the car. So as you can see, through this technology, the left-hand side, the year ago, Ford launched it in their car, in the Lincoln model. And that happened in collaboration with Competitive Green Technologies, our compounding partner, as well as Bharat Lighting, the tier 1 supplier. So according to Ford, Guelph technology was around 20% lighter and requires 25% less energy during the molding process, as well as the cost is very equivalent. So now I am switching to the next part of my talk, which is bioplastic or biodegradable plastic. And in this case, you can see this is different polymer matrices. They can be petroleum-based, like polyester-based, biodegradable, like polylactic acid or PBS. They can be petro-based, but biodegradable, like polycaprolactam. They can be bio-based, but non-degradable. You know about Lego is using biopolyethylene in their current sustainable Lego bricks. So biodegradability of plastic is based on its chemical structure instead of its origin. It can be petro-based or bio-based, but the structure can make it degradable. Biodegradable plastic market is growing at a rate of over 10%, whereas the regular plastic market, the increase is around 4 to 5%. So there really is not a bioplastic on the market that has the best properties and the price to substitute current engineering plastic. So this is saying that how you can get cellulose starch, hemicellulose, lignin, and oil from various plants. You can convert them to glucose, for alcohol, fatty acids, which will be lactic acid, ethanol, or succinic acid. And from there, you can get all kinds of bioplastic, all kinds of plastics. So now, the global production of bioplastic, this is the statistics from 2021. You can see here, the maximum bioplastic is produced in Asia, 50% of the global production. And around 10% and 16% in North America, and 25% in Europe, and mostly used in packaging, fibers, and in agriculture, such as the mulch film. As I told you in the past, the biodegradable plastics have not enough properties to, or are not cost effective to make the product. So they are used in polymer blends and composites. And in Canada, around 20 businesses are doing bioplastic. So here is the latest bioplastic market in India. That is around growth is around 4.8%. Starting from like, see the projection in 2027, it's a like big growth. Every year growth is happening. And here are the various businesses they are doing, like bioplastic business in India with ours, as well as a couple of multinational companies have also producing bioplastic in India. So in Jammu Kashmir, they first constructed the dedicated bioplastic production plant with 960 metric tons per year. And South India, along with J&K Agro Industries, is integrated to produce like 100% biodegradable and compostable product, flower pots, trays, shopping bags, and also a couple of other industries like Robbie industry, Harita industry, as well as biotech bags. They are also pioneer in the field of bioplastic. And maybe there are more, I don't know, probably we can know from Mr. Pahoas what are more they are producing bioplastic. So the growth of biodegradable plastic market, what are the key drivers now? You know, the government now is, and consumer is very aware now how to use the eco-friendly sustainable packaging. And the industry is looking for new raw materials to use in the product. But I already mentioned you, performance is the major concern as well as the cost. So that is what hampering the competition between plastic and the bioplastic. So next 3 slides, I will be talking a little bit about biodegradable. Misunderstanding and confusion governs the discussion of science and means use. The things like all biodegradable polymers are bio-based materials, which is not true. That the bio-based materials also not biodegradable. There are examples like, as I told you, biopolyethylene, bionylon, they are not degradable. All bio-based products are biodegradable, which is also not true. The product is biodegradable and thrown into the environment. Not really. It will not degrade. It need micro condition to degrade the temperature. And biodegradability is a quick process, which is also untrue. So therefore, for biodegradable material, the time, limit, and environment should be explained. And you cannot say that this material is degrading in 10 days, say 20%, meaning in 100 days, it will become 0, which is not possible. So as for the Biodegradable Product Institute, 85% of the consumer think biodegradable. And 60% of the consumers believe that biodegradable products disappear just like when they are discarded. So just to have a little bit understanding that what is the difference between biodegradability and compostability, that all biodegradable polymers are not compostable, but all compostable polymers are biodegradable, because you can see found mostly intact after 50 years, though it is made up of cellulose, because it was inside the landfill. It did not have enough moisture and it did not have the microbe. So you can see how the biodegradable plastic that is kind of breaking down with in the proper condition to carbon dioxide and water. So the term biodegradability often means that where it is going, whether it is going to compost, whether it is going to soil. Define the disposal environment that must be clearly written on the product. So there is a material called Oxo Biodegradable, and that is a claim that degrades polypropylene, polyethylene, which is not true, that breaks it down to small microparticles. So the labeling a product biodegradable for marketing against the law in the state of California. So this is the coffee pod that is invented from our lab. And you can see here, you can use it in the Keurig machine. We have used it from the coffee skin, the coffee chap, the skin of the coffee here, as well as a bioplastic and compatible these products. These are biodegradable. And here the circular economy has been used to use the waste of the coffee bean. And here, this is the product that has replaced this non-compostable or like the synthetic product has been replaced with bioplastic bed composites. And it is like sold by 150 brands all over the world. So that was possible by the close collaboration between industry, which is our compounding industry, competitive green technology, as well as Club Coffee. They sell the coffee pots, and Formark, they are the injection molder. So this product is certified by BPI. So far,
you have another 3 to 4 minutes, Manjusri, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Sorry?
7:05, so that you can interact with people. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sure. I'm just ending it. Sure. So production of 1.5 billion coffee pots has been happened so far. And these are the various other green products, starting from biodegradable, like take-out containers, mushroom containers, and compostable straws, clips, as well as from our research. So the key message is plastics are inevitable, but the urgent intervention is required to reduce plastic pollution. And we think nothing is waste. Waste is a resource for a new industry. Again, bioplastics are the future, substituting single-use plastics, but the disruptive technology should come, as well as affordable solutions should come. And knowledge and education is very important. And I am very pleased to know that in the various universities and institutes in India, it is happening strongly. So the government policy, as well as the carbon tax and leadership, can lead this idea moving forward. The circular economy can create zero waste, reduce greenhouse gas emission for a better planet. And the collaboration is very important. National, international, between industry, government, and NGOs also take part.
I'm in a webinar after half an hour contact.
So thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I would like to acknowledge various funding agencies as well as our researchers to contribute to this work which I am speaking today. I am thankful to Prem Jain Memorial Trust, Dr. Hariharan for the invitation, and Mr. Malik for all these logistics, as well as Circle, the Canada-India Research Center. And last but not the least, I am thankful to Professor Mohanty, without whom what I am speaking, I would never have been speaking. So I am very much inspired with the Dr. Prem Jain's motivation for the green, sustainable innovation, incredible designs and inspiration. And with this, I would like to thank you, everyone.
It's so wonderful that in the beginning and again in the end, you have, paid your debt of gratitude to your lovely, very endearing that you did not forget to mention him once again now. Before I invite Mr. Bava, who has been, since you mentioned his name twice, and since he's been in the commercial levels of business, that challenging than academic research will agree with me. To invite our Mr. Suresh was there to speak, but before that, I think one of you didn't speak among the academicians here. Vanshika, you could not speak earlier, is that right? Did you speak earlier, Vanshika? No, okay. Then I'll turn to Mr. Pava first and then to Sureshji.
You would like me to respond?
Yes, please. To what?
I think as I had already asked you earlier, how long do I need to stay? And you told me that I could make a polite exit.
Correct.
But I ended up listening to the entire talk of Dr. Manjusri. Dr. Manjusri, you have put everything in very good perspective, and I'm glad that the audience, which is not small today, are able to see how things are going to move in the world. Hung up on using the word hung up on single-use plastics and what do we do about that. While that is a very good movement, but in the end, I think you have really focused on the bioplastics. This is the future. We cannot get rid of plastic, but we can certainly migrate to this bioplastics in a rational way, because also we believe wrongly that bioplastics means that it can be disposed of and it will degrade immediately. I think you have cautioned us well. You've given a very good perspective. And I hope today people will start talking about bioplastics more and more after listening to
Thank
you.
you.
Very
Thank you
nice.
very much. Thank you very much.
Trustee, you have to speak since you have been, traversing this entire spectrum of policy and directions of those kinds that the country is taking, and you're listening to multiple people. It is not just your knowledge, you're soaking in so much more. I thought your input should be valuable, Sariji.
Yeah, Dr. Manjusri and Dr. Mohanty, what an outstanding presentation that we had. You got an entirely new dimension about the bioplastics related issue. One never knew that organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry can marry into each other. And therefore, this is an excellent case that waste problem has brought both of you together, and to take care of agricultural waste and all the waste coming from various producers that you have, which is available in a very large way, which creates other problem because of burning and affecting the air quality and PP 2.5 and PP 10. The big problem that you have for 4 or 5 months all over the north and other parts there can be done very well. And it's a very interesting thing that the potential is there. But I think the last slide brought away end of the use for even that, even the bioplastic. At a particular point of time, even that particular thing also has got to be treated there. So the would be there, it will be the inorganic chemistry component will be there, while the organic one would take care of it through the composting route on that. So therefore, it is extremely useful. And just 2-3 minutes more, I want to congratulate a new dimension. We have in another event over there when we discussed on the net zero waste and net zero mission, had brought the net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste component under Mr. Anup Matthew, chairmanship over there, good one. And of course, the framework for the net zero carbon. So in that particular context, the net zero waste is an important area wherein the rating is already coming over there. And plastic component is a good important element in that, which we didn't have entirely full answer. Bioplastic is a very, very major in which I'm sure Anup would like to add this particular to the pilot version that we brought out in that. I'm sure we would like to interact with you. We'll also associate you in the discussion that we have in the IGBC technical committee gets the best of ideas in this particular area. And I'm very happy that this is engaging the attention not only here, the US Senate is also discussing a similar topic now. You're also having the discussion in Canada. Of course, in India, in a very big way, the single-use plastic is one on which things can be done. It's easier. But the other aspect is more important. How do you deal with that? So you have a major problem. You can reduce that particular problem size with the blending with the bioplastic route. And then it can also be done through with the type of information that you got, or how many reprocessors and how many units are there already with 4 million type of job. This will be a new avenue for the same amount of jobs that can be there. You're not removing the job area, but you'll gainfully utilize them with the products on that. And we still should look for the answer on the end of the life one. Of course, you are rightly cautioned in that. I noted the caveat that you already brought on that. It's very nice to see. Has it got the full question? Has it got the full support from the Canadian government and Eating also for some other product you got that. Maybe you would like to say, is there a regulatory support on the bioplastic as a possible solution to the waste management problem, especially plastics?
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am okay. Okay, I can speak. Okay. So overview about this part of the work. Actually, yes, government is now very keen to utilize these bioplastics for mostly for packaging that cannot be recycled. Meaning there are packagings that are, as I told you, multi-layer packagings or very small items, straws, cutleries, and like the thin grocery bags, as well as various materials in greenhouses. They use here a lot of greenhouses where they do cultivation. And, in the greenhouse, a lot of biomass is produced. But if you use a single plastic, they are polypropylene, then you have to throw all biomass in the garbage. So therefore, they are very keen in coming to the bioplastic. But as you saw that statistics that bioplastics are not produced in Canada now. Most of the bioplastics the Canada is buying from Thailand, China, and that is where we have.
Oh, that's interesting. Thailand and China. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Thailand and China. So that's 50% of the bioplastic there. Only small amount is produced in India. But India has a lot of opportunity because so much of feedstock, so much is going to waste. So the most awareness, then the people like Deepak Pawa and everybody can be aware to make it more and
Dr.
bigger.
Manjusri, Deepak Pawa has raised his finger. He wants to give an intervention immediately. The moment you told that.
Thank you.
When we had a board meeting and when I brought this topic, I had no clue that I would be getting into a learning session. My knowledge of plastic processing may be considerable, but the trend line I was watching is towards biodegradable, and I only shared the trend line, but you have enlightened me considerably through your talk today. And I think it puts in perspective, I'm again going to say it, that we people have been hung up about single use, this use, that. I think the migration towards bioplastics is an answer and a very definite answer, and we should make definite strides in that.
To your question, let me also tell you that I've been talking to an entire cross-section of people in federal government, as well as in other sections. Well, anyway, he's gone off into another phone call, I think. Surajji. No, yeah. So the thing is this, Canada, because of Alberta, Alberta is a major oil economy. And in the last 4 years, it dramatically dropped. It had its own crisis. Alberta as an economy, as a province. So try to see how it is, and to see how they can salvage the situation, while they want to, of course, protect the oil economy for themselves. So it's a chicken and egg. They don't know which one has to go, which one has to come next, and so on. It's a tough situation. But the important thing about Canada is, and across I'm saying, in fact, this meeting happened, as I told you in the beginning, this meeting also happened because of this Canada-India Research Center for Learning and engaging with people. The emphasis is on Canada-India Center. Mr. Pava, for you, I'm saying. So if there are people in India who want to engage at some frontier levels of technology or of research, people like Dr. Manjusri, many others in Circle, as it is called, as well as in what is it called, the CICE, as it's called, the Canada-India Center of Excellence in Ottawa, they're all willing, So the question now is, see, for Surajji to say, okay, how earnest is Canada? I would say they're very earnest. Question now is how we engage. And that's a process, that forums such as this one should possibly nurture and build upon. Yeah, would you want to talk about that, Manjusri, since you're nodding in acknowledgement of what I was saying on Alberta and Calgary and all that? I was in Calgary, I think, in 2014. It's a bad situation. Would you want to add anything to this? To this predicament of Canada?
Yes, exactly. Very much, Dr. Hariharan. Actually, this is not only concern about Canada, it is the concern that now we cannot make the existing plastic at zero, because it is the livelihood of billions and billions of people. If you consider whole world, they are in the plastic industry, kind of escalated so far, then their livelihood will be gone. And imagine how much of infrastructure has been established for manufacturing, and then the related the supply chain as well as the life cycle. So all will become zero, and which nobody wants. We kind of advising to the government that Amar has a big role also, to say to the government that, okay, why don't we use the existing facility that are used for the production of single-use plastic? They can be slowly replacing the bioplastic. Okay.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
all
that's
the
right.
infrastructure, all the infrastructure can be used. You don't need to make anything.
Sure.
But the bioplastic should be designed out to fit to the current infrastructure. So we use the same infrastructure, and we also work like very collaboratively with the government, with consumer, with existing manufacturers, as well as the molders, so that it becomes like a kind of sustainable ecosystem. And that is very much required to take this bioplastic moving forward, and hope in 2050, this will become a big
Absolutely.
Can I-
It must be 7:45
can I-
a.m. for you.
can I take a minute?
Maybe. Yes, sir, Sureshji.
I wanted
Yes.
to ask Dr. Manjusri, since I very actively associate the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and for all the environmental impact assessment clearance of the large projects there. We've got a wonderful committee of about 8 to 9 members, specialists in this area. With your permission, can I share your presentation which you gave today to them, because they would because they are particularly worried about all the waste related issues in every project community, besides whatever you have, the gaseous or liquid plastic waste in particular. I'm sure they would like to give the inputs on that. Some of them are really brilliant people who have worked in the sector. With your permission, then I'll share
I
them.
will
I just
take it a little
seek your
further,
permission.
Sureshji.
Yeah,
I
that
will
will be
introduce
very
you
good,
to her.
yeah.
I'll put a mail to connect you to her. And I will also see how, while Dr. Manjusri is doing a great amount of work, there are lots of others, as she herself will admit, who are working on these spheres in Canada.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying of one University of Guelph in Ontario. So let's look at a few of those. If you do want to do something like this, I can connect you to a few of those resources. Let's bring between India and Canada. See, unfortunately for us, Canada and India do not have bilateral relations like with the US.
I had an intention of bioplastic only through Pawasab's good work on that, but there is a little start. But to know that it can take such a way, as he rightly said, you have covered the whole path. You put the whole, rolled out the whole path end to end. That's the most interesting aspect of the additionality that I have from the morning session of the board meeting and the evening session today on the knowledge series. That's what I like.
Sure. So we will take this conversation forward. It's good that you say this, Sureshji, because a webinar or something, it doesn't interest me also. If there is a presentation like this, it has to be, continued as a conversation where we can get some things done. And if you can enable that, I'll be very happy. I'll send out a mail to the two of you. And I'll also ask Mr. Pava on that, because, I'm sure Dr. Manjusri will bring in a couple of other people. And like I told you, Circle is.
And one more point I want, Chandra, one more point I want to say is, local corporations and municipalities who deal with the waste management related problem in every city and town of India going to be, and this time most probably is going in Bangalore. We are going to have that. We'll get you to make a presentation where all the city people will know how to deal with this problem in a big way. That'll be a very major projection on that, because at the city level, people are dealing with the problem of waste and most of plastic waste. They will also be happy to get involved in that. I'll be happy to do that.
Exactly. No, whenever I'm really pleased, and thank you very much, Dr. Hariharan, for inviting, and really pleased whatever way I can help my country. That will be the best, best way.
Great.
Because in India, the maximum number of people, so whatever they will show to the world, that will become the world standard.
Absolutely. In fact, I will add you to a whole long list now that I have got of many of you out there who are saying, I want to give Dan back to India. I want to do seva to see how our country will, go forward. So I will add you
Is
to that
Dr.
list.
Mohanty around?
Yeah, he's around.
He's
Yeah.
there. He's there. He's
Why
on,
don't you show his face? At least get a hello to
I'm
him.
just telling him to open
he's
his
on the
things,
attendee list, Sureshji. And it's 8
Yeah.
a.m. for them and breakfast time for them.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anyway,
she's
yeah.
gone to bring him here. I think she has gone to bring him
Yeah,
here.
it's good because the very fact his name was there and they worked together on that. And he's the
Absolutely.
director of that particular center.
Yeah, I
It
promoted
really-
him as a panelist here.
Yeah, it'll really be good to see Mohanty and say hello to him also.
Absolutely. And, it's nice to know that she's as proud and of her husband as she is.
Yes. And
Nice.
as you rightly said, he mentioned his name in the beginning as well as towards the end, very rightly,
Right.
as a joint area.
Yeah, there he
For
is.
working together.
Professor Mohanty, hello
Yes.
to you.
Namaste, namaste, yeah. Namaste to all of you. Thank you. I am hearing everything.
Right.
She was speaking, I was just hearing. So
Nice.
Wonderful. What a great work between you and Manjusri ma'am together. And congratulations to both of you for the great work you are doing. I'm sure we'll take it forward in a very big way for India.
thank you
Thank you
very
so much.
I also enjoyed
Sure.
hearing all of your discussion. That was very great of all of you, and we will very happy to do anything we can do from our side.
Okay, wonderful. You had 80 plus minutes of this conversation. Very nice, Dr. Manjusri. I didn't, you know how it is, from January when we first spoke. It's nice to mine such talent, which can then do things for India to shape its future. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Sureshji. Thank you, Mr. Power. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Professor Jagannatha, thank you for being here.
Thank you very
I
much.
hear you.
Namaskar.
Yes, I hear you, Professor Jagannatha. Lots of good points you make. And we shall take it up as we go along. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaskar to all of you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone. And namaskar and good evening too.
And
Thank you. We